I welcome you all to the second lecture about the themes of world history. And I would like to say that what we discussed in the last lecture. We discussed in the last lecture about the origin of the human and its evolution with the passage of time, how there were different transformations in its characteristic features, and how we see today's human, which is different from millions of years ago's human. Okay. So, and there were different skills which it learnt with the passage of time, which helped in its evolution, and also which brought a change in its features. Now in today's theme, we are going to discuss about the art of writing and the town culture, city culture, which developed in the ancient period. And whenever this theme comes to our mind, a great prominent area or a prominent place which we need to focus on is the area of Mesopotamia. So Mesopotamia is an area which was drained by two rivers, Euphrates and Tigris. In current scenario, the area of Mesopotamia is the area of modern Iraq. So we will try to understand. First of all, we will have a look about the geographical location, the geographical aspects of Mesopotamia. So in the north of the Mesopotamian region, it was a steppe grassland. In the northeast, it was the area of green undulating plains. The southern region was the area of desert, huge desert. But we have to keep in mind that the towns which came into prominence, or the towns which came to its existence, or the early towns, we can find the traces of origin of these towns in the southern part of the Mesopotamian region, which was the desert. So how it happened that in the desert area the towns came into existence, or what are the other factors which helped in the development of town culture or the city culture in the Mesopotamian region? What were the important towns? What was the living style of the towns? How was the writing culture, the art of writing developed in the Mesopotamian region? And also, what was the different styles of writing? How did writing help us to know about Mesopotamian culture and civilization? So these are the things we will have to keep in mind, and today we are going to discuss these things. So Mesopotamia is famous. Mesopotamia was of great interest for the Europeans also, because the issue, or we can say the term Mesopotamia, has been used in the Bible, Old Testament of the Bible. So the Europeans were keen to know about this region. So as the research went on in around 1850s, a large number of tablets, clay tablets, were found, and there was something which was inscribed on these things, which was studied, and from there on we tried to maintain some records, or we tried to find out how things were there in Mesopotamia in the early time. So at around 3000 BC, the southern desert area, there arose many towns, and many different languages were also used. The language which was of great prominence was the Sumerian language, and also Babylon. When the town Babylon became important, the region came to be known as Babylonia. The northern part of Mesopotamia came to be known as Assyria. And also the Sumerian language was later on replaced by the Akkadi language. So these are the things which we have to keep in mind. Also, what happened is that we can't say that like in the northeast region, it was rich in it was a green undulating plain. There were many animal herders, okay, and milk meat was rich. We can find that the area was abundant in the milk and meat. Also, the southern area, the southern desert area was drained by Euphrates and Tigris, and so agriculture was of great importance and agriculture flourished in that area. But we can't say that only these factors helped in the development of towns in the southern province or the southern desert area of Mesopotamia. So what other factors? Because there is a great significance of urbanism. We need to know that how a urbanized culture began, or what were the factors or what were the features of the urbanized culture. So if in any of the society, if agriculture production becomes surplus, other economic activities also start slowly and gradually. So was happening in Mesopotamia. But with this, there needs to be there are different factors which helps in the development of the city or the towns, because the city people are not self-sufficient for each and everything. Like if for example, if other economic activities, like if you are preparing you can say a metal seal or a metal toy, anything. So it is not sure, we are not guaranteed that the metal would be of great abundance in that region. So they will import the metal, or they will trade with some other places for in search of the metals. So different things come to the town from different places. However, we can say that these were the places of manufacturing where the things were made, and also some things were available in those areas also. But we have to keep in mind for Mesopotamia that the southern province, the desert province, was not rich in minerals. So the significance of urbanization is that, and also if someone is bringing something from outside, they need to store it. Okay, so there needs to be a proper storage. Okay, so there needs to be a social organization which looks after the trade and commerce. Okay, and also in this type of situation, there are some people who give command and some are there who obey the command. So we can say that division of labor was an important feature of the Mesopotamian towns or of any town. Okay, division of labor can be found that there are different works assigned to different people. And also, when we talk about town, first of all we will discuss about the towns, then we will go on the writing thing, the art of writing. So there are different towns which are of different importance. For example, now also we can say pilgrimage towns. Okay, some towns administrative capitals. Okay, you can say trading centers, the towns which have been developed as trading centers. So similarly in ancient Mesopotamia, we see that we can have a clear-cut view that there were three types of towns. First was which developed around the temples. Second was the trading centers, and third, you can say, they were the imperial towns. Okay, which served as the capital, or you can say were a sign of imperial royalty. Okay, so when we study about these things, the two towns about Mesopotamia which we have to keep in mind, the two towns are Uruk and Mari, which are of great significance to help us understand how the town culture started or how it went on, how the story of urbanization went on in these places. Uruk and Mari. The archaeological excavations or findings have been done there for a long period of time. We can't see such long tenure expedition for archaeological finding at any other places. Also, these were 2 times, or you can say much more bigger than the towns of Mohenjo-daro of the Indus Valley civilization. So first of all, we will look about the town of Uruk. So Uruk was a temple town. Okay, we can say a temple town. Now, how a temple town came into existence? First of all, some people from different places came to a place. Okay, we don't have to look to their origin. They came to a place. They established a temple. Okay, they established a temple there. However, the temples were as general as the homes. There was no great, means you can say you can't differentiate on the basis of their magnificency, or you can say their, there was nothing such extravagant about the temples of that time. Only the outer walls, sometimes they went outside and sometimes they came in. So the structure was about, it was like the walls were, somewhere they came outside and somewhere they came inside. Okay, so the walls were not regular. This was a, you can say, major feature which we can distinguish between the general homes and the temples. The temples walls were not that simple. Okay, not that plain. So if there was temple, there must have been some god who were worshipped. So you can say like Ur, the moon god, Inamma, the war god. These were the gods which were worshipped in Uruk. Now what is more important is that the art of writing is also linked to that of the development of towns, because these temple towns or the temples of these towns, they became a center of manufacturing, record keeping, storage. Okay, many different, you can see, many different activities were done in and around the temples, and so there were the records which were kept in writing. So from here on also we can see, when we study about different aspects of the art of writing, the origin of art of writing, we can see that the art of writing developed due to the, you can say, insistence of the kings, okay, to keep the records, Now the second town, Mari, was of great significance, because here we see that how a place of animal herding or pasture land became a town. As it was a pasture land, it was located on the northeastern side, we can say northeastern side of Mesopotamian region. It was a pasture land. So there was a group of, we can say, there were many group of herders, nomadic tribes which came to that place. Okay, they settled for some time, they again moved on to different places. We can also see clashes between groups who were natives to that place and the people or the nomadic people coming from different places to graze their cattle, to herd their cattle. So this conflict, it was not so that none of them settled there. It was not so. Slowly and gradually, whoever won the battle in between the native people and the nomadic herders, whoever won the battle, slowly and gradually they tried to settle there. Okay, Slowly and gradually they tried to settle there, and so on. They started to means you can say they started to keep a systemized practice. They started to have a systemized system of agriculture, okay, and animal herding, okay. They made the war prisoners, okay, the war prisoners or whoever lost the war, they were prisoned and they were forced to work for the kings, whoever became the king. So there are also many records about the distribution of ration, distribution of different things to different people in that region. Again we see that we have records in written, okay. Also the important thing which we have to keep in mind here, that Mesopotamian region of that time, it was of diverse culture, because it was not the same god which was worshipped in Uruk as it was worshipped in Mari. Because in Mari we come to know about a god Dagan. So he was different from those worshipped in Uruk. So we can say that different cultures were also assimilated in the Mesopotamian region. Now, how did the rivers help in the transportation of the movement of goods in the cities? Because we know that cities were the center of manufacturing, they needed different raw materials from different places, or also they needed to send their materials to different places for trade and commerce. Mesopotamian land had a gift of the two rivers, Euphrates and Tigris, and its tributaries, which helped as the network of channels for trade and commerce. Also, the Tigris river was a main communication line to enter to Iran. The trade also flourished. We come to know about the trade system, the trade relations of the Mesopotamian civilizations to the different civilizations of the world during that phase, during that time. Now, the other thing which we will try to know is the art of writing. See, every civilization has its own language, okay, has its own language. The language has its different symbols and signs to explain it, okay. And when these symbols and signs are represented in figures, or we can say when we inscribe them or we write them, it becomes a practice of writing. We come to know about the languages spoken during the Mesopotamian times, during 3000 BC to about 1100 BC. Sumerian was the main language, Sumerian language, which was later replaced by Akkadi language. Also, Aramaic language was of great prominence. In the Mesopotamian region. Now we will try to understand from where do we get these evidences of writing in in large amount, or what are the main evidences for the the art of writing. So in that period, the clay tablets which have been found in large amount are of great significance. The clay tablets were the things were inscribed on them, and then they were dried and used for writing. But once they were dried and baked, means they could not be used again. So we find many different tablets, because each time you need to write on a new tablet which was made of clay, and the form of writing which was used in the Mesopotamian time, Mesopotamian era, Mesopotamian civilization, was known as the cuneiform form of writing. Cuneiform form of writing. Now, we'll try to know that the language which was written on the clay tablets, so it was not a single vowel, okay. Every single sign was a syllable in itself. Syllable in itself. It was not a single vowel which was represented. So, we also find different evidences that there were different traces. We can't say traces, we can see that skilled workers were needed to inscribe these things. Skilled workers were needed to inscribe these things. Now when we come to know about the art of writing, another question arises that was literacy rate higher in those time, or was it low? So it is not so that if we find writing in some area, the literacy rate will be high, as it was the case of Mesopotamia. In Mesopotamia, the literacy rate was not so high. Okay. So we come to know that we also have evidences, or we come to know about 5,000 different signs which represented different things like ox, like you can say fish, like bread, loaves, different things. We find that many signs. So definitely the art of writing needed great skill in the Mesopotamian era. Also, the writing evidences, the records, tell us about the economic situation or the different forms of, you can say, the different types of things, the activities which went on in that period. One such thing, now we will look after the town culture. We will talk about the town culture again, because we need to find the differences which prevailed during those periods between the Indus Valley civilization and the Mesopotamian civilization. So when we talk about the Mesopotamian civilization and its town planning, it was not that advanced as was the Indus Valley civilization towns. So how can we know about this? Or what are the different things which were different from that of the Indus Valley civilization? The sewage system was not that much advanced. Okay. Also the roads were not straight. Okay. However, the doors opened in the courtyard, the wind courtyard. Okay. So for sunlight, they had to depend on the sunlight of the courtyard, which came in the courtyard. The next thing was that we also don't find the town planning in the grid pattern which we find in the Indus Valley civilization, where the roads cut each other at perpendicular angles. It was not the same case with the Mesopotamian towns. So there are some differences, but we can't say that there is no significance of the Mesopotamian towns, because these were the first towns to come into prominence. This is the main thing. Also, the Mesopotamian people, they have given us many different things. With the art of writing, they gave us different concept about the, you can say, square roots. Okay. Like you can say the compound interest. Also, with the art of writing, they tried to keep the record of the solar and lunar eclipses. Different astrological findings. They tried to keep these records in the form of writing, which we use today for our historical findings and in connecting the history with today's period, the past history with today's period. So we can say that the civilization, the Mesopotamian civilization, was of great importance in its form of writing, the town culture, and many other things. So we have had an overall view of the town culture, the living. Also, I would like to add a fact here that we also find traces of, you can say, fish or curd or something else, some other materials which were offered to the god. Okay. Also, we find some. It was not so that it was all prosperity prevailing everywhere. There were conflicts. Because sometimes when the Euphrates and Tigris were flooded, the area became fertile. But sometimes it was also the situation that there were, you can say, there was situation when there was a famine type situation or drought like situation, and so there was a lot of conflict among different areas which lied in the, you can say, upstream and downstream of the rivers due to the prevailing situations. So with this we come to know about the Mesopotamian civilization, its different towns, and the art of writing, which has helped us to grow our concept related to history, the historical findings, and relate the past with present. So with this, I would like to end the lecture, and we will meet in the next lecture with some new themes of world history. Till then, I hope you all will work hard and have a look at the facts about the Mesopotamian civilization and revise the things. So I wish you all the best and thank you.
Thank you.
अथ श्री महाभारत कथा।